Hey friends and family, hey loved ones. I love you so much and I thank you for being here. I love you and I thank you and I respect you. I really do. Gone through some major purges and grieving today. I've been crying all day. I feel puffy and vulnerable and all the things, but I really wanted to show up and share some things, like what I've observed and what I've seen in my healing process and everything that's unfolding, all the magic and the love around me. It's been so beautiful and magical and so, amazing. So graceful. It hasn't been easy, though. But it's been so amazing. Just letting it go. Just like having those waves of sorrow come up and letting them go. And crying them out. And knowing they're a gift. And then knowing, yeah, it's okay now. And just, going from, holy shit, death into life again. And it's just amazing. It's crazy. Really, letting these emotions, that have been so stuck and frozen come through and just be released through this broken heart, in this grief and this process of grief. And, being broken open in so many ways. And seeing the miracles unfold. And it's not, all heavy and everything. It's light at the same time, and so it's such a paradox. And so it's just been really foreign and unfamiliar and strange to me, but just going with it and knowing that everything is a gift and it's here, and I'm here for the shift. So yeah, I just gotta collect myself and my thoughts again, because it has been so much to process, and all the beginnings and all the endings, and it's just love again, live again, be again, start again, being born again, oh man, it's just if I could articulate it right now in so many words, I would just say grace. It's the love and the beauty of grace, of God's grace, because He loves us so much. He wanted us to have our own experience, our own lives, our own gift, to see this and to see how beautiful and magical it really is. Our structures and our connections and our interconnections and the ways that we are, for everyone, and who we get to be and who we are really, and everything. So it's really humbling in so many ways, to see this healing happening in my family and in myself, and just for the collective and humanity, and knowing that there are those of us that are really sensitive, that are here as ambassadors of love, that are vessels of sweet sorrow, that cry for humanity, and have agreed to take on certain responsibilities that nobody else will ever really see in certain ways. But we're the hearts here that need to help purge some of the heavy densities and have and hold that compassion for every being. And I'm not putting myself on a pedestal for being one of those beings too, that has felt all of the pain of the world and carried it for so long, but really feeling the joy of being here now and coming back into union after such a long period of separation and seeing it unfold in so many multi-dimensional ways in my relationships, in my family, in the world, yeah, in my own life, like so beautifully, like individually and collectively, I can see it unfolding. And so it is such a gift for me to witness. And so, like, these past couple years have been like so hard for me and I've seen that in a lot of ways. It's helped me so much to let go of some of this old programming and these old beliefs about myself and others, about me and we, and about God and Creator and creation, and about being good enough, and all of these things that kept me like from really seeing me and we, and who we really are and who we get to be, and what's really true for all beings and for all you, me, and we. I love so much, like, all of this synergy, all of the things that are unfolding and happening, all of the miracles I see and I'm witnessing, like, through this process of grief and transforming, like, this pain and suffering that we've been playing out for so long, like, with this wound of separation. And that's really what it's all about, is that wound of separation, of being separate from everything else. And being separate from ourselves, being cut off, being the cut out self, or playing that out. And one of the funny things tonight was, I watched this video that I had done, my own alchemy videos from October 3rd. I thought I had seen like all those October videos because I watched a couple the other day, like, because I thought it was time to review some things now that I had some space and some time to kind of look at some things. And I just kind of clicked on this video tonight and I was just like, what? Whoa, what? What? So it was like seeing myself again for the first time, and like life and this process, and like really what I've gone through, and seeing my path again with new eyes because of, just all this grief and this gift that my mom has given me, like through her life and through her love and through her own passing, through her death, through her own transition. It's been so huge for me. It's been a week since her services, and so like I've had a lot of time to reflect in a lot of ways, and wow, it's huge, like all the changes and the space that's been made, like to be able to grieve this week with my husband away and with like certain routines a little disrupted and things all over the place. And so, it's just up to me, like, to receive what's being given right now. And so I did, and I can so appreciate, like, this process that feels so hard sometimes and so overwhelming, that is really leading us back home to ourselves and helping us to appreciate the beauty and the love and the truth of ourselves, like who we really are, and all the things that we embody, like really. And I've gotten some huge and received some huge downloads today about some old blocks of where I was holding myself back, and all of the gifts that have always been here, and the love that has always been here. and the ways that we block it from ourselves, and how we can receive it, how we can access it, how we can retrieve it, and all of those things. And so really it's just a willingness to be, and to be receptive, and to be open. And it's the divine mother, the divine goddess, the divine feminine gifts of healing, of wholeness and inclusivity, of love and integration, and just being free to be, like, to be all that we are, so that we can become all of these different amazing gifts that we really are for the whole. And so, yeah, there's so much that these thoughts and these words contain, and there's only so much I can say, really, to articulate what I've received and what I know to be true in my heart. And so, yeah, like in this life, in this human experience, and what I've been given to come into this life, to live this life, to experience this life, to love this life, to embody this life and this love that I've been given, because that is God's love for me. And yeah, all the things that I've experienced and been through and overcome and come through, like, have shown me so much about who, like, we really are, and how much love there is for us, and the love that does work through us, and work for us, and happened for us to help us realize and remember ourselves and come back home to ourselves. And so, like, yeah, these last 6 months have been huge for me, and I didn't even realize a lot of things until today and this last week and everything, with how fast some things are transforming, and then, like, what a lot of us have been working on or working through, like, through these old wounds that have kept us, like, in that feedback loop of separation, and reinforcing that unconscious split, like, between the heart and the mind, and the masculine and the feminine, and heaven and earth, and the god and the goddess. Yeah, it's just been so painful, like, that wound of separation. It's been so painful, so hard, like, to work through. And as I feel these feelings and this pain, like, and just, like, knowing that it's okay to feel that, and it's okay for it to change. Like, it's really weird. It just feels, like, so erratic sometimes, the emotions that come through, and then all of a sudden they're done, and it's just like, oh, okay, I'm okay now, and it's just like joy again, and it's just like, what the fuck is this? Like, it almost makes me feel really unstable, and yeah, just it's uncomfortable a little bit, but, like, I've been on my own, being, like, a little hermit, and but checking in with loved ones and talking on the phone, and not isolating myself, like, totally, but, like, wanting to, like, give myself some space to, like, sort some things out, really. But still being engaged and being willing, and responding to all the loved ones that have been checking in with me, and inviting me to certain things. And, like, part of me was like, oh, maybe I should be coming back out into the world right now. But it's just like, you know what? Maybe it is time to, like, just cocoon a little bit, and, like, process some things, and hold yourself for a little bit, like, because I am rebuilding, like, after a huge storm. Like, this is, like, totally collapsed my world in a lot of ways. Like, I kind of thought things were strong and they were going strong, like in 2020, like where it really like had overcome like a lot of things. And I had like gone through some growth spurts and started and initiated some amazing things like for myself that I hadn't had the courage to do. And I'm so like really, I am proud of myself for doing those things because I did show up for love, and I was fucking terrified about like showing up like in certain ways that I hadn't before, like, and like it was so good for me and it was so good for my family and my community, and it did help strengthen some relationships and like some strengths and gifts and qualities that I did have to develop and just show up for and practice. And I saw like how beautiful and amazing and like potent they were for me, like in just showing up for them, like no matter like how small or how big, like really like they were for me or for others. And I saw that in so many ways, like how it was both and how it's everything. And like yeah, it's just been like a huge death and rebirth like process for all of us, like in so many ways, like again and again and again and again, like yeah, this refinement process and like the tempering the wisdom and going into the forge and like everything, like it hasn't been easy, but it's been so amazing, like really, like for really like just I can see like looking back in hindsight at all my initiations and how it's like kind of slammed with them, and I can understand like looking back to like what was going on in my life and where that led me and how it felt so brutal at the time and so hard for me, but it kept on like expanding and adding to this beautiful tapestry, like really, so I have no complaints whatsoever. It's everything. It's just been like a huge birthing process, really a birthing myself and allowing this love that there is for myself and for everyone else, like, and for me to express that love that I have and that I am and that I hold for everyone and everything, and for God and for Creator and for myself and for creation and for the goddess and for life and for all the beauty that I do see and I hold and I value and I treasure and that's important to me. And not a lot of people like have understood that or gotten that or have been like able to relate or understand like my own being or the way that I express myself, and that's been like really painful for me too, like feeling that I'm all alone sometimes. And I see like now like that's been like something that I've attached to, like part of my coping mechanisms, like my strategies, coping strategies, survival strategies. How I identified so much with my pain and suffering and being alone and everything. And now, like, I understand that we've all been going through these things, and in our own ways, and we can relate and empathize with each other now, and in whole new ways. So just kind of letting go of some things, but I have been so attached to like some of the melancholy and what it felt like to be so separated, and letting go of like that old immature kind of epicure personality. And there's this perfect song that's been coming up like in the last 2 days, and it's Nutshell by Alice in Chains, and I saw it as a 432 frequency song on a channel, and an artist and a being that I love, appreciate, celebrate for his contributions to our consciousness and our awakening. That I started following, like, on Facebook a couple years ago, and he just blew my mind away, like, with the things that he wrote and the light codes that I could see, like, in his offerings, like, where he was connecting so many things, and I could see it in certain ways because of what I could see in my own awakening, like, with hidden history, and how certain things are hidden in plain sight and all of that. So I super appreciated him and the way that he expressed, like, his own creativity. And so, like, yeah, I haven't been doing social media, but I have been, like, on YouTube. That's been, like, my substitute for the social media, like, and like, kind of keeping up on, like, oh, what's going on out there, kind of a thing. But I know that's not, like, sometimes the best way to gauge, like, what's going on out there, because I know, like, there's manipulations and algorithms and things. But I do take a mindful approach to what I am taking into myself, and, like, what I'm looking for, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I do, like, I sometimes overanalyze that, and beat the dead horse in so many ways. But to make a long story short, yeah, I've been following Audible Alchemy, and I really do appreciate him. And I feel like his name was Trevor McGrath on Facebook, and I just loved, like, what he shared about, like, so much stuff about, like, the hidden history, and, like, how things have been distorted and twisted in certain ways, and, like, the things that I was interested in, really, like, and curious about, in my own ways. Like, I loved what he had to share, and it was so amazing to me. And so, of course, like I love, like, all of our different offerings, and so, like, I just started looking at his playlist last night when I couldn't sleep, and he had this one music playlist. And Alice in Chains, man, I used to love them when I was 15, 16, 17 years old, like, during that time, like, in the music was so important to me. Like, it helped me so much, like, articulate and express and feel, like, certain things that I was so confused about, like, in my teenage years. And I really fantasized about getting a tattoo of Alice in Chains and that sun symbol that was on their first album. And that's kind of like what the inspiration on my breast was about too, like that sunshine, that sun symbol, like that, of what that sun encompasses for me. And, like, kind of like to, like, Alice in Wonderland and Alice in Chains, like, and, you know, like, being that, like, kind of slave, or, like, in this unconscious, like, reality, like, this kind of thing. And so, like, it did, like, in a lot of ways, like, influence me. And so, like, it's just coming back to me again, like, looking at my teenage years, of all the things that happened for me. And I was kind of talking with my aunt today about, like, how it's like, oh man, that was the most brutal, like, collapse of the tower, like, when I was in that year, in that impressionable, fragile year of my life, my coming of age, like, how everything fell apart for me, and I didn't even know, like, what to do, and I was so angry at everyone, and I felt so abandoned and so unloved by everyone. Like, I felt like God had abandoned me, my mom had abandoned me, my life was over, and just nothing, was worth anything. And so I went through, like, so many things at that time, where I actually did try and commit suicide, There was so many initiations and things that I did go through. I left the Mormon church, which was a huge ego death. I had my thyroid destroyed by the medical system, and I consider that like an energy rape as well, like, which was really hard. And I'm kind of like coming to terms with some of that stuff now. And then yeah, I did have like some major upheavals with friends, and like there was some crazy social identity crises going on. I went into rehab for a little while, and and therapy, and like got put on some drugs back then. And yeah, all of these things, like to kind of illustrate, like, this is how you're wrong, and this is how we need to fix you, and this is, you know, all these things. And but like, it's just, it kind of brings back that quote of are you well adjusted to a sick society? Like, you know, being well adjusted, like, is no measure of true health. You know, being well adjusted to a sick society. And I was acting my displeasure out because it was so painful, like, not to be able to be myself. And so, like, all of these things, like all these deaths that I had to go through and everything. And so it was a disconnection from my soul, and it hurt so much to feel like disconnected and to feel abandoned by myself, by my mother, and by God. And at this time too, yeah, I really was like, it just hurt so much not to be loved and to feel so alone. And I had some paranormal, like some weird experiences that really scared me, that no one believed me about, or they couldn't process for themselves. And so that was really scary and painful and frightening and devastating to go through. And I've talked about those experiences myself, and some of my family members did experience that and remember like those things. And I have told those stories before to like people in my inner circles, like the really like scary things that just didn't make any sense to me. But yeah, it made me like really afraid to like be in the dark by myself and to be alone, because I felt so vulnerable and prone to like attack and everything. Like, yeah, and being psychically attacked and physically attacked and emotionally attacked and everything. So yeah, I don't feel like a victim though. Like, that's one of the things that's changed. I know that it's happened for me to remember myself and to be true to myself and to love myself. And it has been like a lot of pain to go through and to feel through. And like, that's when I kind of want to acknowledge like all of that, the pain of separation, the wound of separation, and being cut off from everything else. And so, watching this video earlier tonight from October 3rd, 2022, how, it's just weird too. I saw that it got split up into different chapters, and I couldn't even believe like how perfect it was, how perfectly, like in certain ways it summarized like each segment every couple minutes, like what I was actually sharing and what it actually was helping me clear, integrate, and move through. And so it was just so funny, kind of going into that little review yesterday, because I was like, yeah, it's time to review some things because of like the eclipses, all of the things that have happened lately. My memory has not been reliable and as sharp lately because of some of the health issues that I've experienced, and all of the stress and the tension and the lack of sleep and the insomnia and the physical like changes that I've been going through. And so I was just like, oh man, like, it's okay. Like, right now I'm going to give myself a break. Like, usually, like, my memory is so sharp and I can recall things so easily. But the last 6 months to 9 months, it's been so hard for me week by week to remember, oh my God, I can't even remember when I made my kombucha last week. What day was that? Like, when normally it was like, yep, snap of the fingers. Oh yeah, it was Tuesday. But like lately, I'm just like, I don't even know. Everything's a blur, and I just can't keep track of anything lately. And so it's been like a little bit like challenging in those ways where it's just like, whoa, just got to give myself a break and like just let go of control, like of anything, like, and what I think I know about anything or about me or about anyone else or about what's going on. And that's been really like kind of hard to like surrender that control. Yeah. And feel like legitimate and feel valid and like I know, because I think we value like a lot of that, like, oh, this person's in the know, that gives them credibility, or that gives them, some legitimacy or whatever it is that, yeah, we prop up on that pedestal. And so, yeah, there's a lot of things I wanted to share, like about, I've been writing a lot and processing a lot, and so many downloads have come in, really, and I have seen so much healing and all the miracles unfolding all around me in my life, in my relationship, within myself, all of these things. So I'm so deeply humbled and blown away, and I just did want to come on and say, wow. Yeah, even though I feel like a mess and everything, like, it's just like embracing the mess and the yes and everything. And so, like, this process and this phase and this stage, there is nothing wrong with me and we. Like, it's just something we get to go through in this stage, like, to come into like, our potential and what we really are and what we are becoming. And so, yeah, that's not always comfortable, and it's not always pretty, and it's not always clean or sanitized or, yeah, what we think is fitting, what we want. And so, yeah, wow, and yeah, just, woo. So I'm going to, share the nutshell. Yeah, that song. It's just like, whoa, like, it's so profound for me. I wrote some notes down in my journal about it, about the lyrics, and what's hidden underneath of those for me. Like, and I didn't even realize until I dug in there a little bit and did some excavating. And it so relates to some of the pain and some of the death and some of the things that I'm letting go of in certain ways. And also, like, the gift of music and the gift of sound and the gift of frequency and the stories that we tell ourselves and the things we've been identifying with and feeding and reinforcing and taking into ourselves, and how we can transform that, or how grace can transform that, and how I was denying my own grace for myself and God's grace for myself and God's love, that there is, like, for all beings and for my whole self, for our whole self, for our whole being. And so it's been huge, like a huge amount of healing and revealing, and the space has been made for that. And like, and just kind of vulnerable, and I have that courage to show up right now, and I can just be a beautiful mess and ugly and terrible right now. And so, yep, that's what I wanted to share. And so I love you all, and thank you, and there will be more like coming And yeah, definitely shared soon. So thank you. I love you. I respect you. I bless you. And I wish you well on your journey of healing and growth, your love for yourself, and revealing like all of these things that we've hidden and concealed from ourselves that are coming into the light right now, which is not always comfortable. Okay, like, yeah, the light is amazing. I love the sunshine, but like sometimes it can hurt, you know, like, and it can hurt our eyes and it can sting, like after being in that cave and coming out of the cave, and oh, it's just disorienting, and it hurts initially and in the beginning sometimes, like coming into these realizations of where we betrayed ourselves or we haven't been able to be true or show up for ourselves. And so I do have compassion and love and empathy for all of us as we're going through our own things and our own ways of processing and healing and coming back home to ourselves. So love ya, and bless you and thank you and praise you, and thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for being a beautiful reflection for me and helping me to remember like who I am and who I can be. So thank you for being you and being love for me and we, being you as you are, and being here for you, me, and we. Love y'all. So grateful. Thank you. See you for now.